This is the Christmas story for the year 2016. A lighthouse stands at the entrance to French Pass, where two tides clash against each other, causing massive whirlpools. This is where my dad worked in 1939. A boat was coming through the pass, dodging the pitfalls of the huge whirlpools carrying precious cargo, one of whom was my mum. She was not a good traveller, especially by boat, therefore head bent low, wishing that this trip would end and her feet would be safe on terra earth. She heard an aunt calling that she could see one of the twins. Mum tried to look up, but the water spraying a haze across the boat, causing a rainbow formation shooting through the sky, made it impossible to see anything. It was Christmas of 1939, and the whole family were gathering on Matson. The children were already into the spirit of Christmas. They had the whole island as their playground. My mum was brought up there. She was a whāngai child of Huirangi and Turivuruku. My mother never spoke a lot about that time of her life. She had a deep love and respect for them, for it was through them my mother joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and her education was given to her through the missionaries, where she learned how to read and write. She stayed strong and faithful in the gospel, bringing her niece into the church along with her mother, Auntie B. On the 23rd of December 1940, aged 19, James Tahoe married Esther Hippolyte, aged 15. At the time of this marriage, Dad was in the army with his twin brother Herbert. Herbert took place of his twin and sailed out in May 1940 to the war, never to return to the great land of Aotearoa. On doing this, it gave the opportunity to his brother and wife to meet with his grandchildren in Brisbane, Australia, the year 1979. And with this introduction came a magical and fairy tale story that will last throughout the generations of time. And now, my story begins. A whole new world opened up to my children. We had entered the world of aroha, kapahaka, whakapapa, kohangareo, and Maori customs, had the privilege of learning marae etiquette, seeing aunties and uncles and heaps of cousins, played on the marae and learnt all Maoris were not Mormons. You listen to the stories of days gone by, the world I was brought up in, where my father was our knight in shining armour, our hero. He told to us to use our imagination, because with imagination you can create anything and be anything you want to be. This, coupled with my mother's gift of beauty, arts and craft, her sewing, all these were put together, and our costumes for our Maori group were made. We became entertainers, caterers, travelled throughout parts of Australia and New Zealand. Each of you have your own personal story of your grandparents, the love and bond that you made with them, not through signing any piece of paper, and not through force or any obligation whatsoever. So the magic that my siblings and I had as children growing up with my parents now became yours. The 1988 Expo, the world came to Brisbane, Australia. You met with families from my hometown for the first time, saw again our Maori traditions come to life, as my father, being the kaumātua of Brisbane, along with the dignitaries of the local government, welcomed the Maori Queen in good old Maori fashion, which took us onto the opening of the New Zealand Pavilion, where you and your cousins entertained. This was another experience of mystical power, of love, experiencing the magic which my father seemed to wave all over us. Christmas time were experiences that will never be forgotten. Singing and dancing now has become part of your world. Entertaining at Christmas parties, whether it be church or private functions, catering, playing, swimming, basketball, all these were a natural part of your lives. I remember Christmas at Dad's place in Tate Street. We had Dad's nephews who were on a mission for the church coming to the house to celebrate Christmas with us. Dad had found out that they had been travelling all night by bus and were at the mission home waiting to go to their various homes that were being allocated to them. So Dad rang up and asked the mission president if he could come and get them so they could have Christmas with us. The mission president said yes, and yes to the ones already serving in Brisbane and the Gold Coast area. These are the lengths that my father would go to make sure everyone enjoyed themselves. Looking at his Christmas table, you would think we lived like kings. He had 3 tiers on the table, each tier holding some part of our Christmas snack, like lollies, cakes, drinks, desserts, main course, roast, salads, etc., etc. We kept the table set up until New Year's, and then after our celebrations, everything was cleared away. You children had just experienced as if you had lived in New Zealand. And I know you felt the magic of my parents' love of Christmas for each of you. The only way I can end this Christmas story is by doing what I do best, write a poem. December has come and gone. What have I got to do? To bring to life their story from my point of view. So I tell my children my history to show that I truly believe that all the heroes and magic has become part of me. Because of stories my father read to me that took me to different lands, I knew I wanted my children to have everything my dad had given to me. So I tell them a story every Christmas to ignite the magic that I once enjoyed, so they themselves are heroes, and that to me is no mystery. So in conclusion of this story, remember Christmas is past, so you can improve on the future. Love you, your mother.
Perfect.
Perfect.